Monday, tomorrow. Not tomorrow. 2 days away. I've started drinking early, quite clearly. On Tuesday. Let's wrap it there. God's sake. Cut. I'll put in my wee things, for things, you know what I mean? With another derby win. Very quickly before we get into the topic of today's video, Hamish.
Are you alright?
I don't know, mate. I think I'm dying. We'll start again. We'll go for the top. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It is Hogmanay. It's the final video of 2022. We're outside. We've made it a special one, and I'm joined by, I was going to say the special one, but it's not Jose Mourinho beside me. It's in fact Hamish Carton. Hamish, how are you doing, son?
I'm good, Ryan.
Good.
Thank you.
You looking forward to the game on Monday?
Very much looking forward to it. Yes, actually looking forward to the next few days in general. A wee drink today.
Got enough recovery time for the derby? You ready to get going again?
Alcohol tomorrow as well, and alcohol on Monday as well.
Nice.
So it's a good wee period.
It's great to think like that, innit? Just like your life revolves around alcohol. Sometimes you think, is this life for me? Honestly. But it is the last day of 2022. It's the final video. Before we go any further, thank you all so much for the support on the channel over the past year. It's been a long year, but it also feels like it's just flew in. Like the fact that we were playing here in February, we stood here and done videos together then, and here we are ready for another derby. Before we get into the topic of today's video, let's just very quickly talk about the derby. We've obviously done a preview on your channel, which I urge you all to go and watch if you want more in-depth conversation. But just generally, how you feeling about the game? Confident? We head to Ibrox to take on, obviously, Mick Beale's side for the first time.
Is it Mick, is it?
Oh, well, Mick, whatever. Did that not confuse you, though? Because I always knew him as Michael Beale.
Yeah.
And then when he went to England, he was suddenly Mick Beale.
Sky Sports, I remember them
Aye.
going, QPR manager Mick Beale. I'm going, is that not Michael Beale?
Must be Pally Beale, I suppose.
Aye.
But how are you feeling?
Mick the prick, some would say, but we'll let others say that. I'm looking forward to it. I think these are the games you want. Like, honestly, I just love them. They're just the best thing ever. We're just at that kind of weird period now. What are we? We're Saturday at 12:15,
Yep.
and you just want time to tick on. I suppose it's slightly different in New Year because you've got kind of other things to occupy your mind. But see, usually if we're 2 days out at this time, the time just drags in and all you care about is that game, and then the minute it starts you want it to end.
Exactly.
And it's the weirdest thing ever.
It's so weird because I'm so confident going into this game, and I've spoken about that in the podcast, spoken about it on your channel. I'm really confident heading into this one, but I know for a fact Tuesday morning I wake up, I'll probably still be a bit hungover for tonight's shenanigans, but I'll feel that nervous, alright, let's get this out of the way so I can focus on the bigger picture. But the bigger picture is we are 9 clear, Hamish, going into this game. We have the chance to go 12 clear. We haven't seen the likes of this since Brendan Rodgers was in charge, which is mad. It just kind of adds to the confidence for me. But how do you think the pressure I'm trying to think of the word here. What word am I looking for? The pressure, how does it apply to both teams in this? Is it more on Rangers' side?
I don't know. I mean, in terms of the league table and the way it stands, they're the ones that are 9 points behind. I think it's it's almost like their kind of last opportunity to make a fight of it this season. I think if it's a draw, or especially if we win, it's going to be really difficult for them if it isn't already. But I don't know. I think to an extent, because we are the favourites, there almost is pressure on us as well. I would say it's kind of 50-50. As I say, they have to win for the title race. We kind of feel we have to win because we feel and kind of know we're the better team as well.
So that expectation is there now, and then if we don't meet the expectation, it's like,
put it this way, see if it's a draw, I think a lot of folk will be kind of relatively content, but also you're going to be thinking, should really be beating them. Obviously it depends how the game goes, but I think we're so far ahead of them in every department that we feel every time we play them at the moment we should be beating them like we did here. I'm not saying it should be 4-0 every time, but we completely bodied them here early in the season.
We've got the players to body them. That's the thing. Like, I look at both teams, and we spoke about this on your channel. Look at both teams. I just think there is quite a gap between both sides.
I genuinely think you could put So you're starting 11 on Sunday. I think if you then picked your next best 11 from the other players, they would give Rangers a decent game.
Probably. I actually do agree. I really do agree with that. I mean, these are the kind of comments that post or lost. They love to
regretting that already.
Yeah.
Please don't clip this.
You know, it's that's an appeal right there. That's not even just an ass. That's an appeal.
I've got a family.
But like, it's true. I do agree. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll wait and see how the game goes. This is obviously coming out today on the 31st. Tomorrow, when you're hungover, you'll have the option to listen to the four of us, me, Callum, Craig, Kieran Auld and Ryan McGinley, if you like, and that will be our full derby preview for the Ryan 118 channel and the Celtic the Thunder. But once again, Hamish, 67 Hail, he'll have some content up there, make sure to head over. But today's video I wanted to focus on a kind of 2022 look back, if you like. We're going to
rap.
Yes, a rap, that's nice, like Spotify rap.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to... I was trying to think, putting that in Spotify rap terms, it's hard to do that with a football player because it's like you don't watch one player most, you know what I mean? Like, what player have you watched the most this year? You can't really
Callum McGregor, probably.
Would you say McGregor? Aye, is that the one you have your eye on the most?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably played most minutes. I need to check, but well, maybe Joe Hart or someone. But
it could be Hart.
What is your first one, player of the year?
Player of 2022.
So I'm going for Callum McGregor for that. The one, I think
go.
you said, the one who's kind of stood up the most in the big moments, and he's the obvious one I think of. I look back at like that last game at Ibrox when we're struggling, and that run he made, you know, single-handedly driving the team forward in that game. The way he's led the team, both kind of on the park and also off the park as well. I'm talking about, technically it's still on the park, but like at full time, I think both times when we've thumped them here, he's been telling everyone to kind of calm down and not to go overboard. We've not won anything yet, and I just think that he's just the perfect leader for an Ange team. And I think this year, this calendar year, he's kind of gone up a level. I think he's been just imperious. There's a word for you.
Well, it's a good word to use. A couple of players have been imperious in that team, I would say. I'm looking through the replies, so we've got Kieran saying McGregor, we've got Stuart saying McGregor, Brian McGregor. But do you know what? Funnily enough, there is just as many replies calling for perhaps another imperious player, Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yeah.
A lot of people suggesting him. Consistent is the word for Cameron Carter-Vickers, isn't it? He's just so good week in, week out. He's giving you a 7 out of 10 at least every week. And even you notice the difference without him in the side. I think when he was injured, you notice the difference. I think McGregor would be my pick, but I think Vickers is certainly not a bad pick either.
Yeah, I mean, that St Mirren game, we lost 2-0. Yep. There was no Carter Vickers in that team, and I thought we looked really, you know, exposed in that game. I think it's almost unfair to just kind of label him as consistent. He has been, but he's just so good. Like every game,
I know,
like,
that's the thing. It's
he's
like,
just he never really makes mistakes.
Class.
Yeah,
I think it's just consistently class.
It's weird folk aren't talking about him as getting a big move.
I know, I find that bizarre because I made a bold statement when we signed him, right? And I still stand by it because you look at the state of Spurs, I think apart from Romero, who's obviously just went and won a World Cup, I think he was the best centre-half that Spurs had. And I stand by that. I don't think there's any better at Spurs than what Cameron Carter-Vickers is. I'm not saying come back in for him, Antonio Conte. You can do what you've done, but
even in the Champions League, like he was pretty decent, good, I thought, because that was my one big worry. I felt Europa League last season, you know, at times he'd been a bit exposed, Bodo Glimt, etc. But Champions League, I mean, obviously it was difficult in general for us, but I thought he was kind of quite decent in games. Just McGregor, just I think for his influence, but Carter Vickers probably just behind him for me.
I think he's the honourable mention, if you like, Cameron Carter Vickers, and we're going to go for McGregor. My pick was McGregor as well. I just, you know, even when he came back from injury the other night, that week or two now, but never night. I know. As if we've recorded this 2 weeks in advance. Right, okay, we'll move on to the next subject, and that is goal of 2022. We have been blessed with a few belters. We've been blessed with a few that maybe aren't so pleasing on the eye, but hold a massive importance in what they've done. I'll give out some suggestions from the comments first. So, Kieran has went for Jota against Rangers, the chip, I believe, over, was it McLaughlin in goals that day? It was, wasn't it? Hatate second against Rangers, O'Reilly against St Johnstone, that lovely team goal. I think you need to kind of cast your mind back a wee bit for that, didn't you? And then there's a lot of Jota against Rangers, so that seems the most popular suggestion. Would you go with Jota against Rangers, or do you have another pick?
I would always kind of tend to be contrarian when it comes to these things, and probably not one, you know, people have really thought of, but in terms of importance, I think last game at Ibrox, having gone behind, getting that equaliser so soon, I think was huge, and it's Rogic who puts it away, and I just think it's one of my favourite goals of the year. Well, it should really be my favourite, I suppose, if I'm saying this. But the McGregor run is powerful. It comes back to Rogic, the fact that they get a clearance on it, and it's kind of like, right, we've survived that. Oh no, it's going to Hatate. Boom, shot. Yes, we've survived that. Oh, Rogic, and just the pause, the half volley into the net, and just the silence. It was like popping a balloon, because the atmosphere, it was violent, volatile at Ibrox, and getting that equaliser, I think, was crucial. I think we may still have, got to draw out the game. I probably would have still backed us. I don't know if we hadn't have got that equaliser so soon, because we still looked rocky at the back at that stage. They could possibly have gone 2-0 up. We might not have won the league. I think if they win that game, it gets very, very tight. So that goal for me in terms of importance, and just the kind of that finish from Rogic as well was so classy. He could easily balloon that over the bar, put it wide.
I think many players would have.
Yeah, and it was just so calm.
I like that. That's a good suggestion, because I think that everybody forgets about that goal and just thinks about the winner.
Yeah.
They think about Carter Vickers rather than the actual goal that probably got us into that game and gave us that chance. So it's a really good suggestion, actually. I'm going to kind of flip here for a second and just kind of want to give something a wee bit different. I'm going to go for one that held no importance whatsoever, literally no significance, meant nothing, but very pleasing on the eye. Can you take a guess of what goal I might be talking about? I think you were there. It meant nothing. We were 5-0 down at the time.
Yeah.
I'm going for Jota's free kick.
Yeah.
Just, I know we lost the game heavily, and that means, that the goal doesn't really matter, but to see him get that goal at the Bernabeu, you seen his celebration, it was quite cute in a way, like, the fact that he done that at the Bernabeu of all places.
Fans deserved it too.
Oh, but they did, absolutely. So I'm going to go for that, just to be a wee bit different, and it's one that I think it'll age well in terms of when we're looking back every time we play a Champions League game here. It's going to be on the screen every single year. You know what I mean? Despite the result in the game.
It's amazing, because if you told yourself at the start of the campaign Jota's going to score a 30-yard free kick at the Bernabeu, you'd be like, and then it kind of turned out. It was still good, but we're 5-0 down at the time.
I know.
It was a magic goal.
I wish that. See, the thing is about that game as well, it annoys me because I still don't feel like we deserve to be down 5-0. You know what I mean? I feel like we were decent in spells of that game, but bring on Europe in 2023, I suppose. The next category I had is one that I think we can really wrap up quickly, because I think we know everybody's answer. It's a unanimous decision in the replies, but most improved in 2022.
Yeah.
There you go.
Greg Taylor.
Yes,
I thought I was trying to get someone else. But
Scott Bain. It's a grand job at sitting in that seat every week.
Yeah.
Greg. It's got to be Greg Taylor, hasn't it?
Massive.
Just the way that he's came on.
He's actually immense. Like, he's so good.
That's the thing. There's I know it's very early, but when you're talking about the end of season awards, you're looking at the potential player of the season already. He's been that good.
I think it'd be him right now. If you're doing a half-season awards, it'd be Greg Taylor, Player of the Year. Most improved is usually. You were shite before. We're going to give you it now, but he's just. I mean, you look at the start
Ralston
of the year
last year. And
I remember that Bodo Glimt tie, and he was improving a bit at that stage, but he was kind of caught out in that game. I don't think that would happen anymore. Like, I just think. Again in the Champions League, I thought he was one of our better performers. He kind of rarely really let us down in that competition. It was more Juranovic, if anything. His positioning was kind of off. So yeah, Greg, unanimous, certainly the decision, Greg Taylor.
Yeah. Right, okay, next one's a bit of a funny one. I wanted to get some funnier topics in here so we can have a wee bit of a laugh looking back in 2022. So I put up one saying most funny or bizarre moment of the year, whether it was on or off the park. What made you say what the fuck when it happened? So a few of the suggestions in the comments
hopefully
section.
They don't say any of the two I'm thinking of, because I'll be disappointed.
Right, okay, well, we've got McGregor calling Barisic a shite bag, so that was one of the ones. I love that. Kyogo falling on his arse.
That's one of mine.
Is that one of yours?
Yep, disappointing.
Giacomakis finally scoring an overhead kick after many a failed attempt, if you remember. James Sands asking for Jota's shirt.
Did that happen?
The 4-0 game. I don't know, because I still remember going home and seeing him, apparently Sands asked for the shirt. But
the guy said that in the pub to me.
I think that it was one of those ones that somebody had made up on Twitter and gathered a bit of traction.
The thing is, and my pal was saying this to me, it's good because it's so believable. See, if you were to pick the one player on each side, it'd be Sands, in Jota. You
Jota.
can picture it happening, and I think they were actually talking at full time,
Aye.
but I doubt that. Surely not.
I know. A couple other suggestions. Jota doing his tour of the world.
Yeah.
All his random holidays. That was a bit weird. And finally, I'll give this one a shout out. The players walking out at Ibrox to the Old Firm start, the big arch saying Old Firm and all the rest of it. That was quite bizarre, quite funny to look back on. So one of yours has been taken, but what was another one?
So the other one is the Shakhtar miss here.
Oh,
It's just
Jesus
remarkable.
God.
I mean, I have never seen a miss like that. It's
That
just
was bizarre.
crazy. And another one I was going to bring up.
I know mine.
Oh, sorry, Tynecastle with the VAR decision. I remember that 4-3 game, VAR's first game. We're all hoping for a kind of gradual introduction and all of that. And I spent the whole half time at a certain pub in Glasgow just laughing my head off.
Aye,
I think we were drawing or losing. We're drawing 1-1 at that stage. We went 2-1 down just after half time.
Yep.
But I remember thinking, I am finding this so funny that hasn't been given a penalty, and yet, we could drop points here and I won't be laughing at full time.
No,
It was just so bizarre.
I remember feeling the exact same way, and obviously that was the first game with VAR, wasn't it? That was the very first game for Celtic with VAR.
Ange yelling at Stephen Welsh.
That was quite funny. I forgot that was in 2022.
Yeah,
actually,
it was in February.
But mine, I've went for the. I ordered the large fish. Do you remember that? That's what I've went for.
Did they not have another nightmare a few months later?
They did. I can't remember what the second one was, but they did have a second one. I do remember it, but the large fish one, because I still remember thinking, is this a hint at some sort of transfer? But no, it just turns out that whoever's running the Instagram account had posted on the wrong account.
Signing Connor Cody.
Oh, Jesus.
Shocking.
Ladies and gents, thank you very much. But by the way, I actually forgot to say this at the start of the video. This is a rush today. It's Hogmanay. We've got things to do. Hamish has got places to be. I've got places to be. I would love to put up screenshots and photos of everything we talk about here. It's not going to happen. I've got so much editing to do when I'm in with the podcast and all the rest.
If you want screenshots and all that, 67 Hail Hail. That's where we put in the real effort.
Pish. Right, anyway, the next one is kind of similar. Quote of the year. Is there any quotes off the top of your head you can remember? I'll give you a moment to think with some of the suggestions. So one of them was, and I've had this name in the podcast before and I still don't know how to actually say it, so I'm not going to try and butcher it. I'm sorry, you know who you are if you're watching. It was Andy Halliday on Super Scoreboard saying if Celtic go on to win the league this season, it would be one of the poorest Celtic teams to win the league for a long time. Rangers have lost the league. That was one of them with Halliday. We've got the shite bag from McGregor again. Somebody posted the cup of Neil Lennon saying, I am not hungry, I am starving. That was one of them. And John Michael Beale, a few of the quotes there. Post-match presser in the 3-0 Derby game from Ange once again.
Yep.
We never stop, simply. I guess that one kind of...
Yeah, I'm not having that.
Kind of goes a wee bit back, didn't it? And then finally, the last suggestion I seen was champions. That's who we are.
That was good. I mean, the one at the end, I didn't actually realise. What was it he said? We'll enjoy your summer because we'll come back bigger, better because we never stop. I didn't hear him say we never stop at the time because the roar was that big when he said
we
we'll
spoke
come
about
back
this. You're
bigger and
channeling
better.
the poor PA system.
Aye, 100%. Ange talking about the European Cup. Remember when Rangers got to the final and saying about if I want a lesson in what Scottish clubs can do, I'll just walk along there and see the European Cup. The one I'm going to go for, I'll try and mimic it, right?
Acting lessons with Hamish Carton, ladies and gentlemen. Can you give us a wee bit more, please?
Last game at Ibrox.
What is it he says again?
Full time. I think he said it's over or it's done. The Rangers fan who's
that's it.
Crying and he's going, it's done, it's over.
I absolutely love the
That'd be my quote of the year.
I forgot what he says though. I was trying to read your lips, but I looked away briefly.
I think he said it's done.
It's something like that. And he's red in the face, tears streaming down him.
That was the moment I'm like, champions.
That's a good thing about sitting in the upper tier. My worst fear is ever getting caught in the camera, man.
But you get the wee folk who sit in their seat for minutes after 10 minutes after the game, just so that
it's attention seeking, man. That's what that is, attention seeking.
See, if you lose a big game, you want out of there as quick as possible.
I mean, I always stay till the final whistle, but it's as soon as it goes,
run down the stairs, just take anyone out.
So I had a couple in my mind. The first one I loved was Scott Bain. Granted, we've had a couple of digs about Bain recently, but do you remember Bain at Ibrox when the Rangers fan at the end were all celebrating and Bain was scummy bastards. I love that. That was
They were
good.
chucking stuff at McCarthy, weren't they?
Aye,
They're all like
that's
that,
right. And he's
trying
like,
to duck down.
scummy bastards. And then the other one I liked, it was a tweet, and there's been so many good tweets this year, to say the least. But do you remember the Rangers fan who called us secondary class citizens? I thought that was quite funny. It's apparently they're the establishment club and we're the secondary class citizens. I never realised we were on board the Titanic. We were getting, layered. But there were a couple that stood out to me. They made me giggle. But there's been so many funny quotes and stuff this year. I mean, that forum that we spoke about on your channel has provided many a good one as well.
I loved the period when we were scoring all these late winners, and you would just go on and it'd be like, we're getting close, guys. They're going to drop points. Bastard.
It's been a really good year. So, I mean, that's basically all the categories I wanted to go over. So, thank you everybody for your contributions. Just to generally wrap up, Hamish, 2022, anything that we've not mentioned, or just a general wrap up, how's it been?
It's just been a magic year. It's always weird doing the calendar year.
Yeah,
I always think doing
football's a season to season more sort of thing.
You feel a bit weird doing it, but I guess we just do it because it's something to talk about. I mean, the first kind of, whatever it was, 5 months of the year were just amazing because it was all about winning the league.
Yep.
Second half of the season has had good moments. I don't know if it's felt quite as good, just because I think last season was so amazing. It was always going to be difficult to follow up. I really hope second half of the season, we'll get real momentum up now, and hopefully on the way to a treble. And then, hopefully in 2023 we have some big Champions League nights to look forward to as well, and hopefully, get some results finally in that competition. That's the big thing for me, 2023.
This will be the last year with the current format as well, won't it?
I think next season will
be the last time.
So after that we're into the eight games I think we play,
weird.
Which is good. I'm quite happy for that.
I'm looking forward to a change, I suppose. But 2022 for me, the way I was thinking about it when I was driving here, I was thinking, how would I sum it up? I think this has been the year that we've everything has kind of come together for Ange, because the first half of the season last year, 2021, we were still dropping points, it was still trying to get there, we were still signing, we didn't quite have our team, but now we have the team, we've got Ange playing the football that he's been dying to play, it's coming together now in 2022. The end of last season, start of this season has really been, this has us found our identity, I think. I think that's what I'd say 2022 has been for Celtic.
Started and finished it against Hibs. It's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, that is right. Aye, good point. Well, for me, I finished at the B-team derby yesterday. But aye, that's it. So I guess that'll wrap us up then for 2022. Once again, thank you all so much for the support on the channel over the past year. Hamish, thank you for coming on over the few times that you've been on this year. Have a happy new year, by the way.
Thank you.
And
same to all your viewers, or probably
thank you.
My viewers as well.
I know, probably the exact same.
I think we do have folk who just like one of us.
Well, surely, because that guy didn't recognise me a minute ago, but he recognised you.
First time that's happened, to be fair.
For everybody who's across both channels, if you've watched both videos, fantastic, love it. Have a happy new year. Have plenty of drink, if you're obviously old enough to have a drink. And we'll be back on the channel tomorrow with the podcast, and then we'll be reviewing the game on Monday as well. So we'll see you then.